This is your faithful back issues team, bringing to you Isaiah, Tim, Mel, Bray, and we are your lovable comic book nerds who look at comic book movies pre the MCU to see what studios did right and what they did wrong, and see how they affected what has happened in movie history today.
Whoa.
Tonight we checked out the crazy graphic novel adaptation of Frank Miller's 300, directed by Zack Snyder and starring Gerard Butler, Lena Headey, and my all-time favorite, David Wenham. What do we think, team? 300, yay or nay?
Nay.
Oh.
You nay?
You nay?
You nay.
All flash and no bang.
When I suggested this last week, sorry, I'm dealing with a toy issue.
Please adjust Faramir.
Priority.
I think that takes priority
When
over
I
anything
suggested this movie last week, I was like, oh, it's going to be like kind of like...
It's kind of like the movie. That sums it up. We can go home now.
All right, and we're done.
It looked good at the beginning, and then it fell over.
Yeah, ooh, that's actually an app.
Yeah.
It is quite an
I thought it was going to be just like, we're kind of winding down. We're going to revamp some things and do some things different for like our next volume. And I was like, let's just do a fun movie that we're all gonna like sit back and be like, what a gas.
It was good. It gave me gas. It was
it really like I was into it. I liked it. All the visuals were great. But it just it overstays its welcome like in so many different ways where
it's
you're
too
just
long.
like
For a short movie?
For a short film?
Come on, be over. Like you shouldn't have that.
It's all the slow motion. It drags this movie along, and it doesn't hold up.
I think I was really defending this movie early on. I love the mythic adventure kind of visuals that we're getting. The stylization with this, I don't actually mind. I don't mind the color grading and how they make the blacks really black, and they just kind of really mute down everything else. And when the pops of color happen,
when that the ambassador, the Persian ambassador's messenger, and his face just like fades out to black, and he's got the white eye. That was cool. Like there are some great.
That was almost like a
stylistic
silent movie moment.
I'm gonna do
this works as a silent movie.
The shout out to the Oracle. Where the Oracle's like doing the dance, and I didn't realize that it was shot underwater. Right. Someone was saying that when she's moving, you really get that like visual, just like feel with the smoke going in there and everything as well. It creates this, as cheesy as it is to say it, the liquid motions of her body. Just like it's beautiful. Like it's really really cool.
This movie is more Mask than Rocketeer. Like you could watch this with the sound off and enjoy it more. It's more of an artistic achievement.
It all looks really great, but like I was saying during the podcast portion, just like it's just like
falls apart.
It fills your eyes too much, and by the end you're just like, just stop assaulting my senses. It's an assault on the senses in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sensory overload.
Yeah. I mean, Mel, you've never seen this movie before, so like as a first time viewing, I know there's a lot of like we were talking over it for pretty much all of it, but like what did you really?
I think I still got it.
Yeah, but was there anything that you took away from it that was like really something that stuck with you, or it just didn't make an impression, or?
Like I enjoyed the artful nature of it. Like it looked like I was looking at a painting with like pieces of motion within the painting. But
pointillism.
It's
when they all get stabbed.
Have you seen those like motion posters they release for some movies where it's just like it's a still, but there's like they've animated just one thing. It does.
Like the T-Rex biting.
There was mention of that's how they pitched this movie as well. They took like panels from the graphic novel and then they just kind of animated them. I think you were saying that before. Yeah. And it really, I don't know, that kind of, it just...
And the irony is I loved that. Like, for the first, I think, half of the film, I was just kind of in awe of the nature of that kind of, like, style, but...
It wears thin, and it becomes boring. Like, you've seen this same slow motion bit like
overstays
4 times.
Like I said, it overstays its welcome
the law of diminishing returns.
It should have cut 20 minutes out of it. I'm not sure what, and I'm sorry, Lena Headey. All props to you for everything you've accomplished. You're such a badass, but I could not tell you what her story was about or why it was necessary, aside from like setting up the end shot where like all of Greece is behind Faramir, and they're like, "Oh, let's go fight the 3-1."
I am going to give a shout out though, because like I think props need to be given to Snyder as a director and every single member of the cast, because they all knew what kind of movie that they were in. Everyone was chewing that scenery. They were walking away and they were picking bits of it out of their teeth and whatnot. The performances were great. Mel, you and I were kind of talking about how it felt very like CW-esque in the sense of it just felt like you were removed from what was happening on screen though.
And monologuing and
Shakespearean.
Like, it was
in a lot of ways,
but like a play, and it felt like, I hate to say it, but like this weird, like, you know, washed out filters and stuff. It looks like Snapchat or whatever now. It doesn't hold up. It feels small. It's like X-Men Apocalypse. They're over Egypt and they see the pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff, but they're on this tiny little cliffside. It is obviously like
just a bunch of
CGI with a green screen like 10 feet away. It doesn't like add scope. It takes it away.
There's a lot to be said about practical locations and there was some
go get muddy in a field.
Practical stuff, but like this movie was entirely shot on a soundstage. They were never outside, not even once. And it doesn't feel like they were. No, yeah, like there's not a single point where they were actually in the outdoors when they were filming this movie.
But all of this will lead into my pitch anyway. But you hold tight until the second half or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like one of our classic mixed bags where. And it does a thing where now it's like, oh, maybe you stuck too closely to the source material of the comic, and maybe you should have dipped into like a little bit of the actual history.
Well, that's the other thing. Like I said more like Gladiator. I don't know how many times during the podcast.
We lost track.
I would rather it be like style, like some deliberate, purposeful style. Than like a B version of one of those movies.
Yeah,
yes. I totally. Do like how over the top this is, because it does like narratively speak to the just like the nature of the Spartans in general. Yeah, they were really like what's the word I'm looking for?
Ruthless.
No, but like they spun their yarn well.
I would say it's the mythos of the Spartans. Their presence and their their legend, so to speak, is
like a Spartan in your ranks is worth like 100 men in the battlefield.
And it's literally like then at the end, it's literally Faramir telling a bunch of soldiers the story. So like it is kind of like meta in that way, where it is being embellished upon by one of the people that was there to like rouse the troops. So like that's okay. Like I enjoy that because that's very true to who the Spartans were. Like they were that. They were like, we're all badasses forever, and
totally
they were reputation first. Basically, they were badass, but
they were military. People didn't raised by the state, right?
Yeah,
they were taken away from their parents and
raised
to be
they
soldiers.
Had their reputation.
I think that feeds into our problem with the movie, though, is because it's a retelling, because we're being told about it from almost the third person. We are removed from it, and the story doesn't have those personal stakes, and so that's why we don't feel for Lena's character. It's why we don't really feel for Leonidas as well. We see the spectacle of it. You can see that those actors are there and they're feeling it, but we as an audience don't get to experience it as well.
Right. Yeah, it's too bad.
I think it would have been nice to see more of Lena's character as well, more of the struggle, more of like the power. Like we know that she can deliver that as well.
What's her name? Gorgoroth or something like that? Gorgo?
Queen.
Something like that.
Gorgoroth.
Queen Lena Headey.
Yeah, Lena.
I just want to very quickly touch on ratings. We didn't do a rating. So
sorry, this is the first time we've done this.
We're trying a new format, so we're gonna see.
We missed it.
Well, what do you think we should rate this out of
slow motion shots?
Yeah. How about arrowhead shield piercings? No.
Arrowhead shield piercings?
That's too technical.
Yeah.
Rousing battle cries. There's so many of those in this
How about
movie.
trailer shots?
Slow-mo
trailer shots.
Slow-mo trailer shots?
Slow-mo trailer shots?
Slow-mo trailer shots.
All right, we're going to rate this out of slow-mo trailer shots. I know.
Inspiration is low.
This is what 300 has left us with.
Grasping at arrowheads.
It legitimately is kind of fun to end on this one for this season, though, because it's kind of a conundrum, honestly.
It is. Well, you suggested this, Isaiah, so why don't you kick us off? You thought this was going to be fun. At the end of this, how do you feel about this?
I watched this movie 10 years ago, probably for the first time. Doesn't matter. How I would rate it, I'm going to give it, it's not even down the middle for me. I wanted it to be over by the time it was still had like 40 minutes left. So I'm going to give it like a 2 slow motion trailer shots.
All right. Do we want to just go down the line? Tim,
Sure.
You were not a big fan of this movie.
Not a fan.
How low can it go?
There were a lot of fans in the movie.
Can it go?
You were
There
not one.
were.
Physical fans.
Oh, the cloak work
I
in
didn't
this
fans
was
hate
great.
it. Like, it was not...
I didn't hate it. I just didn't want it to be on the screen anymore.
It's not even my preferred, like, if I was just gonna, like, watch a movie to, like, not read a book, or watch a movie to, like, get some, like, broad history sense, like, this isn't what you would pick. It, I don't know, it was bloody, it had some cool actors in it. I'll give it a 1.
Oh,
1 slow-mo trailer shot.
Wow, that's...
I did not have fun watching this.
No,
I would,
problem with that.
and all the stuff that you know from the trailer shots, they've been like ripped off and done in Scary Movie and Epic Movie or whatever. All those other stuff. Like, it's so, I don't know. It's not Zack Snyder's best movie.
Oh,
it
man.
might be his worst movie.
Oh, jeez. Big calls from
But it's
Evil
probably the
Tim.
one that critics love the most, eh? Like, didn't this put him on the map, so to speak? Like,
Well, I mean, from here,
Not for me.
he went on to do, what did he do after this one? It wasn't,
Watchmen.
was it Watchmen straight after this, I think?
That was his next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And it was
So-
a good progression from Sin City.
Dawn of the
Dawn
Dead
was his first.
Dawn of the Dead.
His, remake, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mel, what are your thoughts? First time?
Yeah.
You seemed a bit zonked and a bit like, ooh.
Yeah, it didn't bode well for my energy levels. But
yeah, right?
I'm going to give it 1.5
Oh!
trailer shots. And, you know, this is not the kind of movie that I would commonly lean towards watching
Yeah.
ever. But I did enjoy the visuals. But I have a sneaking suspicion I could have got that and more by flipping through the graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I don't think that's...
You don't think that counts?
I think a movie should bring something else
Yeah.
to the screen because you've got so many more things to be working with. And
To be fair, if I ever do an oracle in a movie, I'm totally stealing the underwater dancing thing and stuff.
yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
there's a lot of
there
good
are
stuff.
moments of gold.
Yeah, but it's not a movie. That's where I'm like,
This is not.
I'm bored.
It's full of vision and ideas, and I commend it for like boldly stepping into like the realm of the idea of this movie, but it just didn't quite hit and
That's totally fair.
score.
Yeah.
This is a down the middle. This is a 2.5 for me. I love the visuals. I like the styling of it. The slow-mo I really don't like, but you know, I like a lot of the actors. I love that they give it, and I gotta give it props for that. So yeah, it's a 2.5 for me. But it unfortunately it has kind of steadily gone down in my thought process.
This is Sparta!
Just to say, don't make it.
Oh, is a pitch to say don't make it? Who knows?
No.
This is where we, the Back Issues team, do our extra special segment where we tell you what we would do to make this movie better or just different. I don't know, something maybe a little bit more enjoyable and entertaining.
It's possible we could pitch worse movies.
It is possible. I think we've done it
We've
before.
Yet to, I think.
Yeah,
I do not
by
wanna
our
I
summation.
do not want to start first.
I'll go.
Great, yeah.
He's the only one
You
who
had
has
lots of ideas.
Lots
in,
of ideas.
in the commentary track. Check out the commentary track if you want to hear our thoughts that we had during the movie. as well.
Totally.
But
I would
Tim?
have loved a gladiator, like, grounded version of this, but that's not my pitch. I would have made this a musical. I'm not even kidding. And think about it. And, like, if this had a Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack that played under it, we did a lot of Queen. We pulled over some, like, Highlander, you know, tunes. And, like, seriously, though, if it was, like, a rock opera and it brought in the right stuff and some, like, heavy metal tracks and, like, for the right parts...
If all the music was written by the guy who helped Meatloaf write "Bad Out of Hell," I think that would.
That
be
right?
Great. I can't remember his name.
Meatloaf
right
as a
now.
cameo would have been great in this.
Meatloaf
actually.
should have done the soundtrack.
I
Right?
do actually feel like rewatching this, it does feel like some of the music in this is almost the same chords that are used in like Batman v Superman,
right,
and Justice
Thor,
League and Wonder Woman, like all of the DC movies that Zack Snyder has kind of had a hand in. It kind of feels like those same bass lines are just I don't know if they originated here, but it feels like they just get reused and
Maybe I'm suggesting we need the right album then, maybe. Like, this isn't Tangerine Dream, but if we could find the dark side of 300, right?
I kind of feel you on this, not necessarily like the... So I just got an idea. It's not even a fully formed one, but it's like...
Those are the best kind of half-baked ideas.
Half-baked ideas. I mean... Thank you, I guess, 300 for stumping me. I don't know how I would make this movie better. I mean, I would shorten it. Like, I would cut 20 minutes somehow out of this movie. At like that last.
This movie should only be 20 minutes.
That last half an hour was painful. I was just like, come on, and we just be over. It's too much. But
too much just style.
A little more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think like. The movie knows what it is, but it takes itself seriously at the same time, and so there's kind of a conflict there within itself.
Well, you need to insert those scenes. Like, there was not enough of those scenes. There was a bit, I guess, where they're around the fire, or they're telling you what's happening, but, like, joking around in the trenches before war and those kinds of scenes, like, right? Like, then you get to know the characters
Make me care about the characters, like, a little more character work, a little bit more... Like, the story can be simple, but if the story is simple, and it is... It very much is. But then you double down on the characterizations, make Leonidas somebody else aside from the guy who shouts dope lines while looking great. You know,
I actually have something I think that would be quite effective in this movie. So we actually end with David Wenham's Ilios, I want to say, is his character name. So I think for me personally, I think the way that you do this movie is don't take the panels directly from the comic book, but tell the entire story from Ilios's perspective, because he's the one that is kind of the heart and the soul of the story. He's the one that we end with. He's the one that I think is supposed to have the emotional resonance with. And so I think that you tell it from his POV, and that way you're elevating Leonidas to this almost godly
you
kind
get
of
the Batman
visage.
Year One intrusion at the dinner where he breaks down the wall, and he's like bigger than life.
You're seeing the king of the Spartans through just a guy who like idolizes him.
Exactly. You're not necessarily seeing the entire story that you would have in the comic book, but you're almost telling the companion book that is the personal movie journey of this character as he has maybe fought alongside Leonidas, as he's worked his way up through the ranks of the Spartans. You could still have that younger idea, and then you get to follow him as he's watching his king kick the messenger into the hole, and then you get to see him register that this means war, and
give him a side mission. Like, his mission should be to not be in the battle. Like, he has to actually not be there for this, and so he sees the final battle. He's like up on the cliff above it, and it's going down.
Just give it some weight.
He's got to report back or tell them.
Another big issue with the movie is there is no clear protagonist. Like, obviously it's meant to be Leonidas, but he doesn't go on a journey. He doesn't change. Nothing changes for Leonidas.
He's more just a vehicle for action.
Yeah. So, like, if you do that, you can keep Leonidas kind of as is, like
doing what he does best.
Doing what he does best, shouting dope lines and looking great doing it.
Wheeling
but then
weapons.
You take David Wenham and
being shirtless.
Take him from, like, I don't know, like, just like the pure Spartan to like storyteller at the end.
Yeah, because we only really see Ilios. We see him in the ranks when Leonidas is going forth on his hunting party, and then we see him like in the battle where there's the Uber Immortal, that kind of the giant that gets released, and that's really only the first time that we get introduced to Ilios. But we're supposed to feel for him and feel tension in this. Also, get rid of like 90% of the slow motion as well, because it really
that's where your 20 minutes disappears.
Yeah, like two. So. You should have two or something.
One moment when the decapitation happens from the horse, and speed that up a little bit, like have it just be when he gets decapitated that it's slow, not the entire thing, and maybe some other point, the spear going against Xerxes, like keep those two moments of slow motion.
I don't even think slow motion when you're on horses is cool. It's cool in Thor Ragnarok and with the Valkyrie for the trailer. It's a trailer shot. It's not like there's no tension in it.
This movie's
it's
an
better
hour and 57
when you have
minutes of
horses,
trailer shots,
horses running, and like it's chaotic. You hear the and the horses like paws, hooves hitting the ground, and you don't know where you are, and you see them, they're jumping, and the legs are going.
Like horses.
That's better.
Horses
like handheld.
Horses
like Lord of the Rings.
Scene done well. Well, I would say the Battle of the Bastards when...
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like, Jon Snow takes a dive, and then he's just standing there, and the horses are coming at you. And it's not even in slow motion, but it's just like he looks so tiny, and he pulls his sword, and he's just like, yep, all right.
It's the fire of guns!
And like, that's a moment with horses that isn't even in slow motion, but it works so well.
You bring in your AC/DC, and you crank it right up. This
Get
is
a little
what
queen in there, little...
Yeah.
Princes of the Universe.
Yeah. Would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so...
And
yeah.
I don't know, like, what was the point of the family in the film? Like, I like the idea of the family, but they didn't serve any purpose.
It was a motivation that they know the audience can connect to. Like, an average general audience is like, family is important.
Trying to humanize.
Oh, yeah, like Lena Headey and her son.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives us a reason to care that Leonidas dies, but we don't care about Leonidas as a character.
Right.
But that is 300. We had a I'd like to say we had a lot of fun watching this and saying this stuff to you, but I'm not 100% sure if that happened. But still, rate, review, subscribe, and check out more of our back issues content here and here and here and there, and maybe just look at another thing. Who knows? But we'll be back with more coming up soon.